Welcome to Cutting Edge Web Content Development, the podcast where we delve into the world of CMS systems and their crucial role in website and web content development. In each episode, we'll explore the reasons why founders, CEOs, CTOs, and CMOs of web content development companies need CMS systems to thrive in the digital landscape. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind successful website management, content creation, and seamless user experiences. Here's your host, Jonathan Ames.
Welcome to Cutting Edge Web Content Development, a podcast by ButterCMS. Today, we're excited to have Alex Galinos here with us. He's the head of SEO at Hoppa, where he spearheads a revenue-focused SEO strategy across multiple international markets. Welcome, Alex.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our discussion today because a lot of times when people hear SEO, they do not make a connection with revenue. They think, oh, this is just something to get traffic. So I really am excited about our discussion for this, but give people just a taste of your background. What are some of the projects you worked on over the years? Maybe some of your favorite projects, some of the clients you worked with.
Yeah, I do have a fairly diverse background. I've gone through industries that are not very relevant to one another. I was 5 years in gambling as an SEO, both in the affiliate side of things and in the operational side of things. Both a very rough industry. And then especially when I was in a gambling operator, they were a very big company operating across, at the time when I left them, they were in 10 markets, on very, very diverse markets compared to one another. So markets like Romania, Germany, then Latin, Brazil, Chile, and stuff like that. So it was all over the place. You had like regulations, entirely different regulations on a local level, which could lead to several major clusterfucks. So gambling was a very, very nice training school. Right now I'm in travel, which I would say that I'm enjoying much better because the product is more relevant to me. I wasn't a player, a gambler, so the product was not that enjoyable to me. And then, I've gone through many, many different industries and both markets and then industries. So I've gone through parenting, I've gone through academia, I've gone through e-commerce, I've gone through what else? E-learning. Yeah, many, many different industries. I might be forgetting a few.
So what were some of your favorite things to do in those various industries? What are some of the things that stood out to you?
You know what? I think the beauty of SEO is the fact that whenever you, regardless whether you're on the agency side or on the brand side, on the agency side, you might be in a specific agency, and just because you have exposure to so many different accounts, then it's like you get, experiences like, on steroids. You get so many experiences from many different industries. But even on the brand side of things, you do have the ability to go from when you transition from a company to another, you can change, sector. And then I was in gambling and then I went to travel. So it's entirely different. Travel, which is the industry that I'm in right now, is very, very, I would say that it's even more difficult than gambling because it has so many moving pieces in the sense that you have the seasonality factor, which is insane. Like you have different seasonalities on a destination level. So one destination might be very, very popular in the summer, then the other destination might be popular in the winter. And then, so you have also to collaborate with internal teams to get insights that you cannot possibly know, in the sense that you might be seeing that, okay, in the XYZ destination, I'm down year on year in bookings. But why is that? Because my rankings are more or less the same. And that the other team, like the commercial team, might come to you and might say, yeah, this is because right now, I don't know, that destination is not as popular as it was last year. So it's insane how many moving pieces you have in travel. And it's a sector that is very, very interconnected to what happens in the outside world. For example, the most recent case for me was Mallorca, which is a very, very important destination for us at Hoppa. And something was happening there with the local people that were protesting because they didn't want to receive any more tourists this year, because apparently they let in more tourists than the destination could handle. So the destination was overflooded with people, more than they could service. So the local people went, fuck you guys, we won't take any more. It's, bits and pieces like that you have to collaborate with other people to know them, to then understand the impact that they have on the channel that you're managing. So in that sense, travel is very, very challenging, but at the same time, very interesting to me. Gambling, on the other hand, was, I would say, more straightforward, but you had other challenges, like, people that were not playing by the fairest rules possible when it comes to SEO. It's each project has its own challenges, and then it also depends on the market. There are several markets, like, with e-commerce projects that I've worked on in the past, where, just because they were operating in very challenging markets like the USA, that there you had other challenges with, what Google was showing in the SERPs, and, the fact that the SERPs, for example, were very, very noisy, and you had to find ways to have visibility in all those rich results that Google shows in the US. So, I think that the beauty of it is that in anything that you get involved in, you get experiences that you haven't gotten from the previous project. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that is interesting to me about SEO, is that it really is a huge driver of revenue if you know how to use it right. I think that you do learn those different facets in different industries. So I think that an SEO who works cross-industry will pick up ideas that you just couldn't get if you were narrowly focused throughout your career in SEO. So that is very valuable.
This is actually something that I think many people working in-house in SEO suffer from. You get almost, I would say, short-sighted, because if you worked in-house for too long in a certain company, then you develop kind of a Stockholm syndrome. You can't perceive things that have changed, or your sight is you're very narrow-sighted, very narrow-minded. So this is why, even in my opinion, even the people that I hire, when they have their own personal projects, or even when they do some sort of consulting on the side, this is something that I encourage, because they get fresh ideas from companies outside of their main focus.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk this idea of revenue-based SEO. If somebody is looking at this and saying, all right, love this idea, how do I create and develop a strategy that's based on revenue-focused SEO? What's the first step, do you think, to that?
Yeah. At its core, revenue-focused SEO is not a specific strategy, I would say. It's more or less a mindset. So revenue-focused SEO is essentially approaching your SEO strategy from the perspective of which elements or pillars of SEO, if optimized, have the potential to bring the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time on business metrics, on financial metrics, such as revenue for the organic channel. It's essentially what you've mentioned before, the fact that SEO has been traditionally relying on vanity metrics like traffic for too long, and selling improvements to those metrics as a success. I'm sure we've all heard about cases of websites that have massive boosts in traffic that wasn't high intent traffic leading to any conversions, but blog traffic that just essentially consumed the content on the article and then had nowhere else to go and just left. So it's exactly because of that that many businesses have ended up believing that SEO is about bringing traffic and nothing else to a website, which is very, very annoying to me, if I'm honest. So as the answer to exactly that comes revenue-focused SEO, which is essentially focuses on bringing high-intent traffic that is bound to lead to conversions and as a result, impacting business metrics, financial metrics, and a business's profitability. Essentially, I focus on where the opportunity lies in improving business metrics for the organic channel. If I see that there's an opportunity, for example, in creating a new page cluster, which in my opinion will lead to conversions because it will bring in high intent traffic, then what I might do is I might build that into my initial list of action. Of course, no website is the same and no website has the same, let's say, SEO maturity as another website. So the approach cannot be the same going from one website to the other. And then a second layer to revenue-focused SEO is having the tools and the reports necessary to monitor the impact the optimizations have on business metrics. For example, in my full-time job as head of SEO at Hoppa, we have reports where we can track all business metrics, such as conversions, such as revenue, average booking value, margin, and average margin value on channel level, and then on page/destination level. Yeah. So what this means and what this does is that it opens up a whole new world of optimization opportunities and pages to improve performance of, because it allows you to discover pages that have great business metrics, like pages that bring in, for example, high value customers, which might not be ranking amazingly well at that point. So it's at that point then that you can take action to improve SEO performance of those pages and, in a way, milk the revenue cow to extinction.
Now, were your metrics in place when you got there, Alex, or did you have to put in place a new system so that you had access to those kind of metrics?
No, some of those metrics were in place already, and they were, it's not that those are tracked only for the organic channel. They are tracked for all channels. But some of them, I introduced them myself. And then it's this combination and this, in a way, approach that's in the level that it is right now, which, to be honest, has completely transformed my way of thinking about SEO. And just to be perfectly clear, that doesn't mean that I don't pay attention to the value of informational pages and pages like blog articles. Quite the opposite, to be honest. It's just what's different. It's the prioritization and the mindset of looking at things from the standpoint of what brings in profitability primarily through the organic channel, which I believe is what every business is in existence for. Essentially,
there's a gap that most marketers have. Marketers typically are in charge of the websites, and this gap is between what you're describing, this level of metrics and ability to tie to a page and see not only conversions and traffic, but also revenue and margin, all within some analytics package. I think that's what's missing. Most marketers out there either have given up on that, they don't feel like it's available, or they have something lesser and they may think that's all they can get. What would you say to those people? Is there hope to get to where you're at, to have that kind of level of metrics?
Yeah, there is hope, and actually there's kind of an uprising trend, mostly abroad, not here in my home country of Greece, of people that are looking at, let's say, more financial metric approach. I think that that goes. For other marketing channels as well, not only the organic channel, but we tend to look at things at stupid metrics and report on those metrics to people that do not understand SEO and are not relevant to SEO. And we go to them and we're saying, we increased your your domain rating from 50 to 60, and we, I don't know, increased your core web vitals from this, score to that score. And the other person is looking at you and they're like, why would I give a fuck about this? I mean, I pay you to, increase my revenue, not tell me things that I don't even understand. And we have all this stupid jargon, which then we reproduce to the irrelevant people, the business owners, and then they don't understand. And then essentially it's this vicious circle of them paying for something that they understand only 10% of what they're getting, and then not seeing the impact to their bottom line, which is, it doesn't make any sense to me why that is. And yeah, I try to approach things from a much more financial, business-focused perspective, and at least report to the people that are not SEO related on things and metrics that they can understand and that they care about.
Yeah. Can you give just a high-level view of how your reporting stack works? Just like, how you gather this information, how you look at it?
Yeah. So for the most part, this thing relies on custom Looker Studio reports that blend data both from GA4, where we source traffic and then conversion data, and then all the financial data we source them from our CRM. So we blend those two sources together, and we've gotten to the point where we go as deep as page/destination level. So yeah, go ahead.
Like page destination, do you say if they come in from this page, we know that they're probably coming in from these particular keywords because you've optimized those keywords for that page, or how?
No.
How do you do that?
No.
So it's not keyword level.
Sadly, this is the black box of SEO. The fact that you can now go on the keyword level. The deepest that you can go is on the page level. You cannot make the connection of, a user came from X keyword, and then it's that same user that converted from that keyword. There are various tools. There are some tools like Keyword Hero, which they claim to kind of make that connection, and for like 70 or 80% of sessions, they can make the connection of user came from that keyword and then converted. To be honest, I tried to kind of explore that tool, but it didn't really work, so I just abandoned it. But yeah, we get a page level, and then we also report on all those metrics on page level. So we report on conversions, we report on revenue, we report on average booking value, margin, average margin value, net profit, and then net profit per booking, and also ROI. So you go pretty deep on the metrics.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you still do value informational and blog posts, so higher level searches where somebody isn't necessarily going to directly convert. Do you use some kind of multi-touch attribution to be able to see someone who came in at maybe an informational level and later converted?
Yeah, we do that. And it's actually, this is why I said that, informational content does have great value. Number one, because the biggest, let's say in the total search pie on the internet, informational searches with informational intent have like 70 or 80% of the search pie. So you have to be crazy to abandon that, cluster of terms. Now, we do that as well. So we track, people that came in from informational content and then potentially converted from some other channel, like email, for example. So we do factor that in as the value that the informational content brings. But then from my side, just because at Hoppa, I was the owner for the redesign for the blog. So our blog, when I came in, was kind of in a pretty terrible condition. So I led the redesign. And as part of that project, I also included several things that fell under the CRO side of things. So I like to, when I like, let's say, design blogs, not design myself, but kind of spec the blog design, I like to have conversion mechanisms in place on the blog page template to kind of incentivize people to go from the blog article to a landing page that's more relevant to them and kind of push them further down the funnel. Also, of course, that depends on the nature of the article. It cannot happen to every article, but yeah, I do that as well.
No, that's really important. I mean, I've talked to many SEOs over the past few months when we've been focused on SEO discussions, and many of them have mentioned this, the importance of connecting SEO and CRO, that they're not separate. They really have to work in conjunction, because it does no good to bring in lots of traffic and then lose the traffic because you don't convert them. So those two have to work very closely in conjunction.
Yeah.
Very important. Let me ask you a question about balancing. So you've got these amazing metrics. You're using these metrics to actually justify the work on various pages for SEO based on revenue and margin that you get off of those. How do you balance your work between, because obviously SEOs, it takes time usually, between the short-term wins and things that may be more competitive and there are going to be longer-term strategies that will pay off later on?
Yeah. Truth is that there has to be some sort of balance in that. I mean, I understand that not every business has the patience to wait for SEO results to start showing up. And to be honest, I think that it all starts with setting the right expectations. I mean, it's like, in my eyes, it's like going on a diet. If you expect that going on a diet, you will lose 10 pounds within the first week, and then it's not the diet's or the dietitian's fault. It's you having the wrong expectations, and maybe the dietitian's fault for not rectifying your expectations. SEO is pretty much the same thing. Before demonstrating any value, you have to make clear how the mechanism works and when, more or less, it's expected for SEO to start bringing in results. Sadly, SEO takes a certain mentality and specific traits even on the side of the business. If the business does not have the mentality of being in it for the long term and expects results right now, then they are more fit to turn to paid channels for customer acquisition. There are always quick wins that you can get on SEO, both in terms of rankings, like going after long tail keywords, which you can rank for more easily and are usually much better converting if they have the right intent, of course, as well as more revenue to get the ball rolling and start having some performance at least. One thing I often like to do to get an idea of which terms convert better organically in an industry, especially if I'm a newcomer to that industry, is to ask for PPC campaign data. So what this enables me to do is to have an idea of which terms convert better and are more bound to bring in profitability if you rank for them. And then you can go and do further analysis and find in like the terms from the campaigns that have the biggest conversion value on average, for example, so that that customers that come from these terms are bound to spend more if you rank for those terms organically. So it's a mix of tactics like that, which ensures that you're getting some immediate wins and proving the business value the channel brings to stakeholders. And then as a result, allowing you to get continued investment in the channel to implement the longer term strategy, which brings in, of course, the bigger gain. But of course, also usually takes more time.
This is my plug for PPC. I really think if you're doing SEO and you're not doing PPC, you're doing yourself a disservice, because like you said, there's a lot of wins that you can learn very quickly in PPC and test out and experiments. You don't have to put in a huge budget, but you can simply figure things out. And if you're not giving your SEOs access to that, you're missing out on opportunities for them.
Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, from a search channel, meaning both SEO and PPC, especially in the case of, you're trying to penetrate a new market. Usually, if the budget is available, I go for, okay, you guys go with PPC first, because obviously SEO is not going to kick in from day one. And then once you get like sufficient data after 2 or 3 months, then you can give us that data, and then we can also cross-check with our pages, and then also include some of the keywords that convert better for you guys, so that SEO starts converting better in a much faster way.
Yeah. Maybe give us an example of a challenging SEO problem that you faced where you used your revenue-focused strategy and how you used that to solve that.
Yeah. I'm going to use an example, not from Hoppa for a change, because I think I talked about Hoppa too much. I'm going to use an example from a personal project of mine, which is called Parents Hub. Parents Hub, just to kind of give a very, very brief intro, is a parenting knowledge hub, which only targets the Greek market. So it's on a .gr domain. And it offers informational content on kids and parenting related topics, as well as buying guides that we monetize through affiliate marketing. So the website has more than 100,000 monthly traffic, with I think something like 96% of that traffic coming from the organic channel, or at least that used to be the case like a couple of months ago when I last checked. Of course, not that is necessarily a good thing, because, we're relying too much on organic, but that's a whole different story. So one of our affiliate content categories is around family holidays. So we post content that has to do with family-friendly hotels and stuff like that. So one of our significant successes on that project is a specific piece of content that we had published around a year ago, I think, around all-inclusive kids-friendly hotels. So I think we published that article around midsummer last year. And we managed to rank that article for quite a few hundred relevant all-inclusive terms, like, for example, all-inclusive hotels for children, the variation of this in Greek, of course, which we have been ranking number 1 in Google Greece consistently for about a year now. And it's a very, very high volume term. It's a seasonal term. And in its peak, which is like July, I think it hits something like 5,000 or 6,000 monthly searches. So it's quite a high volume term. And it's a term that has a commercial intent, which means that it brings in users that are very much close to conversion. So to anyone that is familiar with those terms, these are very, highly valuable terms that drive big net revenue if users convert. Hence, they also have high CPCs as well if you bid on them. So what we did, the approach to kind of get the results on that article, was nothing. I wouldn't say that it's anything too sophisticated. It's pretty much comes down to the basics. So what we did is that we tried to answer the intent of those users 100% by giving them what they need. And what they need is all-inclusive, kids-friendly hotel suggestions in various locations all around Greece, because the search patterns for the keywords were also including the location. So like all-inclusive, kids-friendly hotels in the XYZ part of Greece. And then we also tried to cover the topic very, very holistically. So we tried to cover both the main term as well as the long tail variations of it. And we also invested in link building. So we did a combination of guest posting as well as link insertions from relevant travel websites to get rankings as fast as we could, because we kind of published that article when it was mid-season last year, midsummer season last year. So we were kind of in a rush to get the article published and then ranking because we were going almost out of season soon. And I would say that the noteworthy part of that specific achievement was that, number one, we are not a travel website, so we didn't and we don't have the topical authority to travel terms. So we only have a bunch of articles around family holidays. And then for the relevant terms that we are interested in ranking for, we've also outranked travel websites with significantly higher authority than us and also relevant to travel than us. And of course, topics like that are very, very seasonal. So they produce revenue mostly in the summer season. However, all-inclusive hotels by default as a service, they are very, very expensive. Hence, the commission that you get on average per conversion is very, very high. So in that regard, it comes down to even when it comes to articles, because this was an article, it comes down to picking the terms that or that you estimate are bound to bring in the most revenue based on intent.
So it's looking at the intent of the keywords. It's looking at the profitability of those keywords, and then you build your strategy around that.
Exactly. And then of course having all the conversion mechanisms in place right on the page to kind of showcase the suggestions in a way that is more visually appealing, that lays out the benefits and the offering in a way that's easily digestible, let's say, and then pushing users to conversion.
Yeah. So one last question. Wanted to ask you about the technology side of SEO. So are there particular frameworks like Next.js? Are there particular backends like a headless CMS that can affect your SEO strategy, or is that minor?
Yes and no. I mean, it really depends on who makes the decision for those things. For example, I know that you mentioned those technologies because at least in my experience, in my 2 years at Hoppa, these two technologies are, I've gone through them and I've used them. So when I first joined Hoppa, I had to deal with two major migrations. One was going from an old framework that the websites were hosted in, which was called ASP, and we went into Next.js. So I had to deal with a migration, the code framework migration, which some people might say, yeah, it's just the code migration. I mean, if it doesn't involve URL changes, then what can go wrong? Trust me, everything and anything can go wrong if you don't know what to look for. I mean, one of the pages, the rebuild pages in the new framework, the first iteration of those pages was handed into me. I was like, how the fuck, mind my language, was this delivered to me in this way when I have created, very, very detailed tickets, speccing things, explaining the SEO acceptance criteria and stuff like that. So everything in SEO depends on the level of experience and the level of perception you have on the things to look out for. So the Next.js migration could have turned into a massive clusterfuck if there was somebody that didn't know what to look out for. And then also the CMS migration was major. So when it comes to things like that, those things on their own do not produce revenue, for example. What you're called on is to mitigate the clusterfuck, the risk and the clusterfuck that this can turn into if it goes wrong. So you're pretty much like trying to dodge bullets and save the business of the clusterfuck that this can turn into. So yeah, I mean, those frameworks and those backends are very, very nice. And Next.js, for example, is as SEO friendly as a JavaScript framework can get. But then again, it's a JavaScript framework, so you have to have experience with JavaScript frameworks and to know what to look out for and to spec to the devs to make it even more SEO friendly. So out of the box, it comes down with a few things that other frameworks don't have. But even in that scenario, you have to look out for certain things. And then, yeah, I mean, headless CMSs like Strappy, which is the one that we migrated to, they're very, very nice, and you can customize them in ways that you cannot imagine. But this takes work because those are custom CMSs. So you have to tell to the devs, okay, I need this and this and this field in the back end because these fields control those fields in the front end. And then even in the case of, this goes even further in the case of redesigns, for example, because redesigns, you introduce new things in the front end. So you have to tell them, okay, in the back end, I want those fields to work like that. I want them to have like a rich HTML editor. I want them to have, I don't know, to give me the option to customize the color, to customize the whatever other thing, the borders and stuff like that. So they are nice, but they involve a lot of work.
Yeah. Now that's the advice I would give most people is that, when you're looking at your technology base, make sure you work with someone who understands the effect that does have on SEO. It can be helpful. Certainly, there's a lot of benefits to certain frameworks and CMSs, but you've got to have someone who knows what they're doing with that. And so don't be afraid to go find an integration partner who can help you, who, just like you said, who can look at it and say, you know what, these are things that you need to change to make this worthwhile for you, because there really is... there's some customization that goes on with having a separate front end and back end.
Exactly.
And it can be really good. Let me ask you one last question, just a personal career question. If you could go back in a time machine, see yourself at the very beginning of your career, what have you learned now that you would tell yourself in advice then?
Good question. I to be honest, I don't think that I would have done anything differently. I think that even, I don't know, the bad decisions that any person makes have led to that person being the person that they are today. So I don't know, maybe the fact that I shouldn't have put up with certain cases of, I don't know, bad behaviors from, employers and stuff like that. But I think that for the most part, I've made the right decisions, and I would repeat those decisions. The fact that I started investing in personal branding from the early stages of my career, and this has kind of a domino effect as you go on, and you get to the point where you don't have to send CVs because people reach out to you and they say, if you're interested in the XYZ position and stuff like that. I don't think that I regret the majority of the decisions that I made.
Oh, that's good. Well, if people want to connect with you, Alex, online and, ask you questions or whatnot, what's the best route for them to do that?
I would say that it's LinkedIn. I'm very, very active on LinkedIn, and you can find me if you search for Alex Galinos. I think there are two people under that name. I'm the person that does SEO, not the other one. And yeah, I mean, I'm very, very active. I have, very big network, and I'm always eager to extend that network. So feel free to connect.
Awesome. Alex, really appreciate your time. Some great insights here on the connection of SEO with revenue and CRO and PPC. And I love some of the stories you shared. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Cutting Edge Web Content Development is brought to you by ButterCMS, To find out how you can build better with Butter, stop wasting dev time, and free your marketers from your legacy CMS, visit ButterCMS.com. Also, make sure to search for cutting-edge web content development in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at ButterCMS, thank you for listening.